Well, after a long summer break, we are now in the depths of winter. Welcome everyone back to the International GT Open Round 6 at Red Bull Ring. We're getting things kicked off here at the Styrian Mountains with qualifying one, humidity at a tremendous 60%, it has to be said. Air temperature down as low as 9, but it has been lower than that. We've witnessed temperatures at 5 degrees through the course of free practice. And speaking of which, fastest are championship leaders. East Talent, Audi with Christopher Haase and Simon Riker registering a 1:29.818. Just look at that picturesque view in the Styrian Mountains with the snow still glistening on top of the mountain top. But I tell you what, that's not the only story, because on top of East Talent Audi nailing in the fastest time, we also had 5 cars within the same which should say 11 other cars covered by the same second, with Get Speed Mercedes of Anthony Bartone and Fabian Schiller in second fastest, just under 3/10, and then ahead of Car Collection Porsches of Gustav Bergström, Nico Menzel at 3/10 behind, and Hash and Alex Fontana at just over 6/10 behind. We're now getting set ready for qualifying. Flags are green. George Morgan here in the commentary box alongside me, Chris Stevens. And Chris, it's been a long break, but we're back.
We certainly have. It's been a very long break, George. It feels like it's been forever since we've seen these fantastic GT3 cars out in action. We have 35 of them this weekend, which is nice because it's a little bit more than we were actually expecting. The Tresor Attemptor Racing Audi suddenly popping up. Just saw it in the garage. Was not on our initial entry list. So yes, up to 35 cars. One additional entry being that very striking Porsche there from the Tsunami Racing team, who have been racing in GT Cup this year. That's one of the additional entries. We also have a third car from Greystone GT. They're first in the Pro category with the British GT pairing of Dean McDonald and James Kell. So we're very much looking forward to seeing how they are getting on. But we're very much into the second half of the season now. 12 points separate the top 6 in the championship. East Talent are entering their home race here this weekend as the championship leaders, the fastest in practice. As you mentioned there, George, we've had 6 different winners overall, and there is plenty of possibilities to add a 7th this weekend.
Yeah, it could be an opportunity here for Team Oregon as well. Obviously, we've got the return of Rolf and Icon alongside Leonardo Polcini, which is great to see. Obviously, after that really huge smash at Spa-Francorchamps, was out with injury for some time, but great to see him back in amongst it. There's Hash, of course, coupled with Alex Fontana, of course, registering that time that was within the same second of Christopher Haase and Simon Riker from free practice. As we now watch the ISR Audi also make its way up the hill, the return of Libor Milotta, Philip Salakada as well in the car as they hustle around. But incredible to note that, like I said, Oregon have been so successful here in the past, and with Polcini obviously back in the team. He won this race back in 2022 in race 2, along with Benjamin Hites when they went ahead to win the championship. But it was also their sister stable companion, Kevin Gillardoni and Glenn Van Berlo, who would take the race 1 victory during that same weekend. And then following suit, they essentially did a triple crown, because last year, Maximilian Paul and Pierre-Louis Chauvet would take victory in race 1 in 2023. You never know, they might be back with a bang, Chris.
It's going to be very difficult for them to do it this weekend. Again, just look at the amount of talent we have in the pro standings with additional cars as well. And astonishingly, 2 of our championship leaders, Dominic Baumann and Mikhail Batamba, who are 3rd in the championship, as well as Marcos Sieber and Diego Menchaca, 4th in the championship, yet to take a race win so far this year. So there are plenty of very quick contenders out there who haven't yet won. This could be a very good weekend for the Porsches as well from Car Collection. They are one of several cars that have had a 10 kilogram weight reduction for this weekend. The Audi, the Lamborghini, the Porsche and the Ferrari all running 10 kilograms lighter than they were in Paul Ricard. But the Porsche also has a slightly bigger restrictor on it, 1.5 millimeters bigger. Doesn't sound like a lot, but it could make a bit of difference considering that this track is an awful lot about power. Plenty of high-speed sections, such as the one that Johannes Zelger is making up his way to now in that Tsunami Racing Team Porsche.
Yeah, and only 10 corners around this track. Very short distance, the shortest circuit on the calendar.
3 of them don't even matter, really, let's be honest.
Well, I mean, it just goes to show, I mean, it is a very small circuit, fast and furious. That's exactly what Red Bull Ring is all about. Across the line now, we're seeing some of the times come through. Nico Menzel still on top, just under 0.5 of a second ahead. Carol Bash is going popping himself into second fastest, with Dominic Baumann in third place as well. Obviously, SPS Performance Mercedes will be hoping for a big weekend as well, given the fact that Mikel Pitamba in the past has also nailed down some really tremendous results. But if we talk about the consistent performers, all eyes on Marco Seibert and Diego Menchaca. An unbelievable number of podiums they've managed to string together, only outside of podium contention on 3 occasions if you factor in race 1 at Portimao, race 2 as well as at Hungaroring, and also race 2 at Paul Ricard. But the rest of them have been podiums.
And, well, they didn't start in Portimao, did they? They had the same engine issue they had there in Portimao in Paul Ricard last time out, so that was a DNF for them. And then the Hungaroring one was they got shunted at the first corner and never managed to finish inside the point. So the only time I think they've actually finished in a race, maybe they did finish in Hungary, but the only other one was Spa, and that was the pit stop error that cost them a potential victory, at the very least a podium.
Yeah, Nico Menzel now about to come across the line, already fastest at the moment, but looking to improve. Not quite. The time is slightly down. Was purple in that first sector, but just could not follow it through for the rest of the lap. Someone who is going fast, though, is Simon Riker, who's managed to register a 22.024, goes third fastest as well after registering the 27.2 in that final sector alike. So not a bad start there for Easterland Audi. Of course, Haase will not be taking the mantle in this one, as Jordan Pepper now goes into third place. That is obviously a time of 1:29.388, which is just under 4/10 away from Menzel up at the top.
Yeah, so a 10th and a half between Nico Menzel and Carol Bash in second position aboard the Olymp Audi. That's in the Pro-Am category, but obviously they're pro aboard, so looking for a good overall position there, as Menzel has picked up some speed in the first sector there. We saw on that last lap the track limits at the final 2 corners. That is very much where it's being monitored, and it is the white line that is being considered the track limits. Now, if anybody who watched the Austrian Grand Prix here, as Menzel dips 2 wheels into the gravel trap and does get it going, had enough forward momentum to keep the car running, but he will have lost a few tenths of a second there. But we're coming up to the sector of track now. If you watch the Austrian Grand Prix here, you'll remember they put some gravel strips in at these last 2 corners. You're about to see they're not there. And so for these cars, they get to, well, they can utilize all the runoff area if they want to, but it's not going to be a legal lap.
No, Menzo about to cross the line, but no way will this be a time. Well, saying that, I mean, at 1:28.9 at the moment.
What?
Yeah, he's managed to go faster.
How do you do that?
That is extraordinary. I mean, I think we were all bemused at that one. I mean, you would expect, taking the gravel, that would cost you time, but...
well, it's track limits, isn't it?
I mean... physics has taken a back seat here.
Yes.
But, yeah,
it's astonishing.
Extraordinary. Nico Menzel fastest, 1:28.918, and is the only driver in the 1:28s at this moment in time.
I'll tell you how he did. Is the last sector, he absolutely blitzed it by 0.2 of a second. So that was a really good end to the lap. But surely he'll just be able to pick up some easy time in the middle sector if he keeps it neat and tidy on this occasion. The Car Collection Porsche team, Car Collection, this is their first year in the International GT Open. They're bringing the 992 911 GT3R into full-time competition here for the first time, and they've had a couple of podium finishes with their pro car, Nico Menzel and Gustav Bergström. They are currently 10th in the standings, but they've had 2 podium finishes in Hockenheim and at the Hungaroring. As he's flashing the lights there, trying to get the cars in front out of the way, and it's one of the Ferraris, isn't it? It is the Pro-Am Championship leading Ferrari 296, and now look at, he's going to get caught up there.
Unfortunately,
and he's definitely had to slow up a little bit there. Who's aboard the 27 at the moment? I think it might be Marco Pulcini, but he's going to try and clear him into turn 1, the louder curve here. Oh, no. There's space for 2 cars there eventually, and that's going to be another lap, unfortunately, that Nico Menzel is going to be unable to improve on, and you can see it, the McLaren just in front of him. That is the 3rd entry from Greystone, the pro car. But here's Carol Bash, currently 2nd fastest.
Yeah, Carol Bash, we know, is furiously fast behind the wheel of an Audi R8 LMS. He was like it last season, of course, a Pro-Am winner as well 2 seasons ago, but of course had that ripped away after Marco Pulcini and Eddie Cheever went to win the Pro-Am title last season. But we're now riding on board here with Jordan Pepper. Was coming into this one at 200 kilometers an hour.
Yellow flags.
To the Rocheberth. Oh, wow, yes. That is mental, is it not?
No, it's the other car collection, Porsche of Hash, isn't it?
Yeah.
So yellow flags at turn 6. That is buried quite far into the gravel trap, isn't it? Red flag.
Red flag. Yeah,
red flag, so we're going to have an intervention here.
Yeah, red flag as the time has been stopped with 20 minutes to go. Let's take another look. Oh, wow.
He arrived on the seat very wide into the corner already. No grip out there at all because it's been raining so much this weekend. This is the driest spell we've had all weekend. There was a very brief dry spell where they managed to get some slick running in yesterday during FP2, but the track is going to be so green, so as soon as you go off the racing line, there's just going to be no grip out there.
And not to mention, there's still a great aura of mystery as to what the weather's going to be behaving like heading through to the rest of the day, because we've been looking at the forecast. 100% chance of rain, it's been deemed as well at 2 o'clock, which is just before the race will happen this afternoon here in the International GT Open. So again, the teams are going to have to account for that. They're going to have to start putting in place their strategies and their ideas heading through for the start of the first race here at Red Bull Ring, and it's going to be challenging. And if you want an illustration of how cold it truly is, obviously you've got the spectators wearing overcoats, but also if you just look at the mountains surrounding it, there is still snow on the hilltops. It is really truly something to behold.
There wasn't when we came here last year, was there? It was considerably warmer.
Quite the dusting this time.
It's astonishing. Like, the track temperature is only 11 degrees out there, George. They must be struggling so much for tyre temperature right now.
Yeah, we've also got Johannes Zelger and Fabio Babini. Some of you, or I'm sure most of you, have tuned in and watched the GT Cup Open Championship would have witnessed this pairing as well in the past. Babini relentlessly fast, this time stepping up into GT3 category competition behind the wheel of Porsches, and Johannes Zelger taking his stint in qualifying as well. Be interesting to see how they get on.
Yeah, so Zelger just heading back into pit lane. There, obviously all the cars coming in under controlled speed. So as it stands, with 20 minutes and 7 seconds left on the clock, it is Nico Menzel fastest by just over 0.2 of a second, a 1:28.918. Carol Bash second fastest and best of the Pro-Am runners so far. And then Jordan Pepper in third, off the back of his DTM debut at the Saxon Ring, I believe it was. Which did not have a very happy ending for him. So he'll be hoping that this weekend goes a little bit smoother and he doesn't get punted as he was a couple of weeks ago. But there is the Hash car collection Porsche that's just been extracted from the gravel trap, been carried over into the escape roads. That's a very quick and speedy recovery, and we thank the marshals as always for their efforts in helping us going racing, particularly when it's bitterly cold outside and this afternoon when we anticipate it's going to be pouring down with rain. But hopefully that means we're not far away from getting going again. We do still have cars that are making their way back into the pit lane, so once the last car's back in, I almost anticipate we'll be able to get going pretty quickly after that.
Yeah, fantastic job by the marshals to remove the stricken car, but it's now on to the teams to now maybe reassess the procedure going through for the rest of the session. We've got Florian Scholzer back in the paddock as well, someone who is vastly familiar with GT Open action. Of course, prior raced for Team GT Mercedes here in the past, but now this time driving an Audi. We've got more Motor Park Mercedes now coming into the pits, just finalising. A couple of teams as well taking the tyres off the cars. You can see the exposed brake discs as I'm looking out of the commentary box. Easterlent Audi have theirs off the car as well, so we'll wait and see as to what they decide to do. But already some cars deciding, I think, to filter down the pit lane. I thought I saw a bit of movement down there in the lane itself, but nothing that I can see just yet.
The fast lane has not been opened, so
yeah, that's what was curious to me as well. I was like, oh, that's a bit sudden. It's
a bit premature. Hopefully they're just moving slightly further down the pit lane, trying to find their box, hopefully. But let's see, this is AF Corsa team just giving some notes back. Once again, AF Corsa here with a flurry of Ferrari 296s, a lot of them in the Pro-Am category, but of course one in Pro. It's our most recent race winners of Vincent Abril and Niccolo Marinangeli, and it is the latter who is in the car for this session. Hash has been put back on the road, and so I think that means he can actually rejoin the session.
Yeah, I think so. Just coming back into the pit lane now. We're just watching him outside the commentary box window, and of course on your screens, everybody, him, of course, making their way now down towards pit lane. So surely it won't be long before we get back running again. But you were speaking about, obviously, Nicola Marinangeli. Actually, were the centrepiece of what was a truly dramatic affair here at Red Bull Ring last year.
Yes.
When, of course, they were trying to chase down their first race win. And once more, of course, Marinangeli learning all the time, of course, was partnered with Agostini last year. And now this time alongside Vincent Abril, a vastly experienced GT3 driver. As we now have the pit lane confirmed open. It's now green, so now the drivers will make their way down to the bottom, albeit no movement just yet. But
yeah,
it looks
don't all go at once, guys. Calm down.
Greystone are first. They've sent two of their cars, the two 720Ss, down through towards the end of pit lane.
Yep, so the Proctors, just leading the queue there. It's Lewis Proctor of the Lad and Dad combination. It's Lad at the wheel. And then the Pro Greystone McLaren, it's James Kell driving that car for this session. So the third car from them is the silver class driver James Kell, being partnered with the McLaren factory driver Dean MacDonald, who we'll see out in the race. But of course James Kell joining the rest of the silver class winners of the Spa 24 Hours on the grid for this year. Obviously Anthony Bartone, Yannick Mettler and Aaron Walker at Get Speed. They're all here this weekend, but has been competing in British GT with the Greystone team.
Spa 24-hour winner as well is James Kell, so he's got quite the repertoire under his belt. And both he and Dean MacDonald will be, I'm sure, looking for a positive result here, enlisting themselves in pro class as you'd expect. And you know, obviously with AF Corsa plummeting more cars in as well, with Zaid Gandor as well making up yet another runner for them, who has taken part in Maserati Trofeo, Porsche GT3 Challenge Middle East in 2013 to 2014, and has also taken a central role in the Ferrari Challenge, and has done a lot of his racing in the United States as of the last couple of years, racing from 2020 to last year in the GT World Challenge America Championship. So I'm sure we'll be looking to bring this experience from the States over to the European side of racing.
Yeah, joining the AM Championship there, which is quite an intense fight as well, between Giuseppe Cipriani and the Get Speed pairing of Adam Oseka, Kiki Saknana, Olimps, Christian Korzanowski and Stanislav Jedlinski. Obviously, we didn't have our reigning champions in that category, Timo Rompkarl and Heiko Neumann, out in Paul Ricard, because they were still repairing the damage on that car from Budapest. And so they really have to be on it now for the rest of the season. Equally in the Pro-Am standings, Marco Polcini now kind of standing on his own after Eddie Cheever missed the previous round at Paul Ricard, but he's back this weekend. Still trying to stave off Karol Bash and Marcin Jedlinski, and the Blau Motorsport F Corsa run Ferrari of Marcelo Han and Alam Kader. They're carriage mates. Speak of the Devils, there they are, heading up towards turn 3.
Yeah, heading up now towards the highest point on the track, before he'll then descend downhill in towards Slosh Gold and then through towards the Roche and Verth curves, the fast left-handers, where of course Hash got it wrong, and very nearly Nico Menzel got it wrong on his prior fast lap. Only ended up though posting the fastest time of the session that we've seen so far, the 1:28.918, still living strong with just under 17 minutes to go. Coder coming down in towards turn 4 this time, straight back onto the power once again, just trying to get that heat into that rubber once more, because of course they've spent some time standing still in the pit lane. Obviously they wouldn't have managed to heat it up all that much, I don't think, on that initial stint, because there wasn't a lot of time before the red flag came out, but now they need to bring their best, and with only there being 16.5 minutes still to go, it's going to be a challenge. That's
going to go by very quickly. So Alam Kader, the pro in the Pro-Am pairing, was class winner. They took their first class win at Paul Ricard last time out. It's Marcelo Han, his teammate, just, well, I was going to say watching on, but on his phone. Maybe watching on his phone, never know. But Kader, the Brazilian, makes his way up towards turn 1. In the Pro-Am Championship, actually, we've got a few parish notices, because we have a returning champion to the International GT Open, which is Giacomo Alto in the Racing 1 Ferrari. He's standing in for Luca Ludwig alongside Ernst Kirkmeyer. So that's his third different teammate of the year. Obviously having standing in for David Fuminelli, sorry. He's become the full-time driver in that car, but David unable to race this weekend. So we've got Giacomo Alto in the car. Also, Jim Pla on GT4 duties, I believe it is, this weekend. And so we see the return of Vladislav Lomko, the current European Le Mans Series Championship leader, aboard the number 69 Mercedes.
Yeah, of course, those of you who might be wondering if it's the same Vladislav Lomko that competed in the Euro Formula Open Championship back in 2022, you'd be absolutely spot on. Would obviously try and challenge Ollie Goethe to winning the title, and was unfortunately unable to do so. But one thing he did manage to do was take the Rookies Championship, and since then has taken a stint in LMP3 competition, as we now watch Alain Cadet make his way through the second part of the Roshenwerth bends, and then down in towards Sector 3, where he'll meet the Jochenrindt curve, and then down in towards Turn 10 once more, bringing in to his first flying lap. Incidentally, talking about Giacomo Alto, winner here back in 2019 alongside Albert Costa, so you never know, maybe lightning can strike twice once more for Alto, as we now watch Coder with a green personal best in that middle sector. We'll be looking across the line in the same vein. 19th fastest for Coder as he crosses the line. More to come though.
That's 7th of the Pro-Am standings, sure, just getting himself back up to speed, because of course Karel Bash, top of the Pro-Am runners, second fastest overall at the moment. And already flashing his lights on the Lambo ahead. So typical racing driver, getting out there and making sure, oi, get out of the way, I'm on a flying lap. Again, that stunning Tsunami Porsche, it's just gorgeous. I think this is the same chassis that Stefano Borghi rather put a dent in, let's say, at the Golf 12 Hours a few months ago. But I haven't had that confirmed yet.
Johannes Zelger behind the wheel of it this time, if it is, heading down in towards Slosh Gold. It was great to see him here racing in the International GT Open. He'll be hoping to bring his very best for his teammate as well, Fabio Babini, who's ever so experienced at multiple different Porsche category levels, as well as taking part in touring cars, among other things as well. Of course, all those skills will come in very useful where it comes to GC3 racing. A lot of hard racing certainly seen here at Red Bull Ring in the past. Zelga managing to register that personal best in that middle sector, and he'll now look to make his way down through towards the in-swinger, heading down the hill. I can remember Dan Arrow having a big moment here last year, which was quite the impact against the barrier. Yeah, well, absolutely. It was a real hard moment for him, but Zelga having no such issues in his Porsche down the straight. Let's see what the third sector has brought him. Of course, he was in 23rd. He's up to 22nd. Johannes Zelga registering a 1:30, 3:12, still chasing that 1:29.
Yeah, I think, though, only second fastest of the gentleman drivers in the Pro-Am category, though. So, yeah, I know it says 22nd overall, and he's 10th in class, but I think the only Am ahead of him in his class is Marco Polcini. So that's, on the face of it, actually a very good run. I will say, though, the Am, the championship fastest at the moment is Christian Korwczanowski. So he is the top bronze driver at the moment in 6th position overall. That Olymp Ferrari is flying out there. But this is another one of the Pro-Am cars, the number 95 Motorpark Mercedes. Motorpark represented in all 3 categories here. And who is currently driving the number 95? I believe it's Morten Stromsted. Which is nice because his boy's just been out as well in Formula Regional.
He has also had a drive in Formula 3 as well, which was great to see. Fabian Schiller, little to no surprise, purple now in the middle sector from Fabian Schiller. Timon van der Helm now 4th. Michele Rugolo went 3rd fastest as well not too long ago, as we now watch Schiller go 2nd fastest at 1:29.084, right on the bubble of getting into the 1:28s, and the sister get speed just coming up in behind of Kiki Satnana and Adam Osaka. Of course, Osaka team boss at Get Speed as well, as we now watch the pairing of Schiller and Bartone fly up through towards turn 3. Obviously, be looking for more time to unseat Menzel right at the top.
Yeah, where's Schiller been all this session? That's the first time he's really lit it up, and he was fastest in the middle sector on that lap, but he's now brought the benchmark down in the first sector as Marin Angeli goes to within 100th of a second of Nico Menzel with the fastest final sector as well. This is Michele Rugolo in one of the other AF Corsa run Ferrari 296s. Just making his way up to those last two corners, but Schiller is going gun-ho on this lap, but it's Rolf and Eichen now who's setting the pace in the first sector aboard the 63 Oregon Lamborghini. So first session back, and he's not waiting around, is he?
No, not at all. Schiller just going purple as well in the second sector. Rugolo, race winner, back here in 2015 alongside passing Latharis. I tell you what, try saying
that three times real quick.
Get the words out of my mouth for that one. Fabian Schiller, though, still purple and looking to bring his best in the third sector. Of course, remember, an Eichen did take that purple first sector away, but I think it might have just fallen off slightly for an Eichen because Schiller still holds the purple lap so far. Comes across the line. Schiller with a chiller at a very cold Red Bull Ring. Manages to lay it up on top ahead of Nico Menzel and registers his first 128 of the session.
Only half a tenth of a second between the top two. Only 600ths of a second separating the top three as it stands. As an Eichen did get over the line, the rest of the lap wasn't a sensation, so he's 3/10 off in 5th position.
Yeah, fantastic effort from Fabian Schiller. More to come though still, because we are now within the final 10 minutes. Oregon now back. Let's see what they can do. I think this is the pairing of Polcini and Eichen, of course, heading through towards turn 3.
Well, of course, Eichen is coming back to a race-winning car now, because Leo Polcini with Simon Connor Prim was his stand-in in Budapest when they took the checkered flag first there. And so, Eichen again setting a good pace in the first sector. It just needs to tidy up the rest of the lap. Yeah, exactly. Fastest in the speed trap as well is the Lamborghini, 242.6 kilometers an hour.
Yeah, we said that Oregon Lamborghini had a brilliant last 2 seasons here at Red Bull Ring, and obviously Leonardo Polcini was privy to some of it, and Eichen going a little deep, heading out of Roche and Wirth curve and very nearly lighting up the gravel trap. Again, another visit. You don't want to go in there, Rolf, unfortunately, but he is up on his time, but the big question is, will it carry over into the third sector? And he has got traffic. That's not going to help. Obviously, the Motor Park, Mercedes, AMG GT3 just having to dodge and weave out of the way. That's going to cost an Eichen some time. We have seen some movements up in the top 6 as well. Remember, Maranangeli third fastest, Bash 4th, Vincharka up to 5th, with an Eichen now down in 6th. And there you can see the time loss in that third sector.
Yeah. That just lost it all behind the Pro-Am Motor Park Mercedes. There, just saw a glimpse there of Nico Menzel heading through pit lane exit. He's been in the pit lane. He's just sat there waiting patiently since we went green again after the red flag. And now for the remaining 8 minutes, is going to hit the track in that car collection Porsche. Now that the time's been beaten, we're like, oh, got to get back out there and do it again.
Yeah, absolutely right. Rugolo obviously still going strong as well, 7th place. We now take a look at the replay here again of Rolf and Eichen heading out into... Oh, it doesn't look pretty, does it?
It looks much like it didn't look as bad from that angle, did it? But the rear-facing one, he really took some gravel in there.
I think that's the point where you can see it being kicked up, I think, and obviously it always looks worse than what it probably is.
It just went much further than it looked like from the front angle, and now he's going to get some more traffic. But the other Greystone GT McLaren here, one of the Pro-Am cars, it's Andre Borodin at the wheel in the 24, just going for a loop out of the Lauda curve at turn 1.
Andre Borodin, I think, just pitching the rear out ever so slightly coming out of turn 1, and it's unfortunately sent him round coming through the first corner at Niki Lauda curve, so he's going to have to reset himself. Obviously Oliver Webb alongside him this campaign, and there's Hash in the car collection Porsche, and did well to dodge him as well.
Yeah, he did. That was good reflex reactions from Hash at turn 1. All clear now, though, thankfully, and so Schiller's just made his way through. Mencharka's right behind him on the track. It's the blue Mercedes that went through the picture there. Oh, see the spark? The spark going off the sausage curb, coming off of the Get Speed Mercedes there. That was cool. Hope we got that in slow motion.
Well, Jordan Pepper, hold your horses. 1.5 tenths faster in the first sector at 21.898. So we could yet see him join the 128s up at the top. Only 3 drivers have registered it so far, and it's Schiller, Menzel and Maranangeli. And incidentally, all 3 of them are within the same tenth of a second. They're within the same 65 thousandths at the moment. But Jordan Pepper is going to look to drop them down a peg or 2, but will he be encountering traffic? There's a lot of, quite a couple of cars there further up. The one in front of him, though, is going to be the one that's more of a concern, and he's still purple coming out of Roche and Wirth curve. Will need to try and get himself by very quickly and promptly, and I think he will do. Over a tenth up out of sector 2, needs a mean sector 3 to then place him higher than Fabian Schiller. Coming in through through the Ockenring corner, now down the hill through towards turn 10 at Red Bull Mobile. Let's see if he can light it up. being careful not to go too deep over the white lines, but coming across the line anyway. It's fastest for Jordan Pepper.
He did a little like fist bump to himself. He was like, yes. I think he saw it on the dashboard. So yeah, it's 1:28.624. That puts him nearly a quarter of a second clear of Fabian Schiller. But now back on the racetrack and flying is Nico Menzel in the car collection Porsche, fastest in the middle sector. So we have Lamborghini, Mercedes and Porsche all going for pole in this session in the last 5 minutes. Incredible stuff.
Quite a statement for the BOP, this is, that's for sure. Obviously, Menzel now 39.556 in that middle sector. Just gone second fastest, I believe, on our timing screen here.
72 thousandths of a second away from Jordan Pepper's lap time there. So it is incredibly tight out there. And I wonder, did he just get a little held up by the Porsche just behind him on that last lap? Well, hopefully he's got clear track in front of him now.
Yeah, Alan Kuder also joining the 128s. He's just popped himself into fourth fastest ahead of Nicola Marinangeli. So Carol Bash now leading the 129 contingent, second in Pro-Am, and is going to be looking to try and topple perhaps Alan Kuder, but a little bit of work to be done. There's the Dominic Baumann Mercedes, and there's Menzel.
Yeah, he doesn't have clear track in front of him,
no.
George, but at least they're very quick cars in front of him. It doesn't look like Baumann's on a particularly quick lap, and in fact pulls to the right-hand side on the exit of turn 4. Baumann Mercedes, it's down in 16th at the moment. Thought they'd be a little bit higher up, but of course still a few more opportunities to get some laps in, but it's kind of pressure time here for one of our championship contenders as Carol Bash in the Olymp Audi goes fastest in the first sector. He's been pipped to Pro-Am pole as well by Alam Kader in fourth position overall. So we've got the overall pole and the Pro-Am pole fight happening right alongside each other in the timing screen at the moment. And Kader's on a good lap. He's improving in this one as well, as we see Carol Bash wrestling with that Audi through the middle sector.
Yeah, 58 thousandths to the good. Oh, coming through Rauschenwerth curve. Oh, it could have been brilliant. You never know, though. I mean, we look what we saw from Menzel earlier, so why can't Bash do it? We'll wait and see. Obviously, he's still only 2.5 tenths outside the spectrum in that middle sector.
It's still green, and he caught the Ferrari there at exactly the right moment. So we'll see.
And Alan Kuder as well has just gone into second fastest, so he's topping the Pro-Am. So if Bash can get this right, he can topple Kuder for essentially Pro-Am pole, I suppose, to a certain degree. Heads up towards the line. Let's see if he can go faster than Pepper. No, lost the time heading through that middle sector. That's unfortunate, but still purple in the first. Lucas Dunner holds the purple third sector at the moment. Let's take a look at this moment again.
So Menzel managed to keep forward momentum, but it was the last sector where he nailed it, and he still had traffic in front of him, did Bash on that one. So this is our Pro-Am pole sitter as it stands. Second fastest overall, just 0.3 of a second back from Jordan Pepper, who's lowered the benchmark even further, so 28.44 now. It's changing about all over the place, isn't it? And he's only 1,000th of a second quicker than Nico Menzel for third.
Yeah, Menzel on a personal best in the first sector with that 22.088, 39.6 in that middle sector as well. Not quite as good as what it was before. Improvements from Lucas Dunner, though, 22.2 in that first sector. 5
different manufacturers in the top 5 as it stands, George. 2.5 minutes left on the clock. It's Lamborghini, Ferrari, Porsche, Mercedes, Audi, and then our 6th manufacturer, McLaren, also represented in the top 10 overall. Yeah,
and Carol Bash just gone and set a personal best in the first and second sectors again, still trying to chase after that superior pole lap that could, of course, uproot Alan Kuder. Still a little bit of work for Bash to do, though. Jordan Pepper holding strong to what would be a sensational result once more here for Team Oregon. He's in the pits now, Pepper, and I'm sure be waiting with bated breath as we come into the final 2 minutes.
And Dunner's just gone fourth fastest with another purple sector 3. Carol Bash is improving in the middle sector on this lap, so we'll see if he manages to improve. He did. He's gone up to 5th fastest, but still second of the Pro-Am runners, so it's still this man, Alam Kader, fastest of the Pro-Am runners as it stands. While all this has been happening, Nico Menzel, who was on the fringes of pole position a couple of minutes ago, is now down in 6th.
Yeah. It's incredible how...
Half a second off.
It's amazing what can be won and lost through the course of a qualifying session. Remember, it was Menzel up at the top, leading up to the red flag, and just after it as well. But after 20 or so minutes, the complexion has somewhat changed, and we've got purple first sectors from Lucas Dunner, purple first sectors from Nico Menzel, albeit though the second sector time has let him down somewhat, as Petrov now goes up into 8th place. So Oregon on the move again. They've got a driver currently sat on pole position for now, but now obviously Petrov joining the fight. 3 of their cars in the top 10, with Rolf van Eiken in 10th place and in the pits as well. As we now take a look at the pictures in the garage, a good day for Jordan Pepper.
He's done. We're like, oh, well, that was good. Beat that.
He did a fantastic job, I must say. And there again, Johannes Zelger.
It's a rotation there coming into pit lane.
Yeah, it's a little moment, obviously. It's a very narrow lane going through down, well, certainly for a big Porsche.
And you have to tighten the entry of the penultimate corner to get in there, because the pit lane entry starts all the way back. So he's lost it already and then decided to come into pit lane right in front of the Greystone GT McLaren.
Yeah, James Kell, I think, did well to ensure that he didn't get caught up in anything like that. But as you can see, Pier Giorgio Testa saying congratulations to Jordan Pepper, and Marzio Moretti also passing on his regards as well. A fantastic 128.424 for Jordan Pepper, as the checkered flag comes out here on qualifying. Great job from Alan Coder as well in the Pro-Am, leading the Pro-Ams. Carol Bash down in 5th as well, 2nd in Pro-Am, but you've got Fabian Schiller there joining them as well. The fight between Schiller and Pepper is going to be scintillating, I'm sure, on the opening lap. And don't forget Lucas Dunner as we watch. The SPS and Dominic Baumann getting it slightly wrong in the gravel.
That SPS Mercedes down in 17th place. For Baumann and Pitamba, 3rd in the championship, are going to be starting well down the order for this one. That is a surprise. Especially Dominic has been the better qualifier of the two. He's had 2 pole positions so far this year. Then Menzel across the line. Wow, what a difference 10 minutes makes. 6th fastest for the Car Collection Porsche in the end, number 15.
Yeah, Rolf van Eiken now in outside the top 10. Obviously, James Kell ahead of him. Diego Menchaca into 9th fastest. And Dominic Baumann qualifying 15th after coming across the line. So actually towards the back of the pros at this point. So big shame for him. Obviously, both he and Mikael Pitamba will have to reassess ahead of the race. But no doubt they'll be working with their data teams behind the scenes to get prepared for what I'm sure will be a fascinating race.
Rolf van Eiken down in 11th place. Championship leader Simon Riker in 12th as well. This is going to be a fascinating race.
Well, I tell you what, Jerry Canavicio is absolutely delighted, and for good reason. They're back again in P1 here at Red Bull Ring. They did manage to do it in the second race, where, of course, it went the way of Nicola Marinangeli and Riccardo Agostini. But, of course, they've celebrated 3 wins in the last 4 races here at this track. The big question is, will Jordan Pepper be the one raising his arm aloft? Or will it be one of the others? It could be, well, it will be fascinating. Absolutely right, Chris. Given the number of manufacturers that are involved in this, let's take you through the results. Jordan Pepper for Oregon team on top of qualifying 1, with Alan Coder in 2nd place, Fabian Schiller in 3rd, Lucas Dunner in 4th, Carol Bash in 5th, Nico Menzel in 6th, Nicola Marinangeli 7th, with Artem Petrov in 8th, Diego Menchaca 9th, James Kell in 10th place. Further down, Rolf van Eiken is in 11th. We then have Simon Riker down in 12th, Michele Rugolo down in 13th place, with Aaron Walker in 14th, Dominic Baumann 15th, Timon van der Helm in 16th, with Christian Korzanowski in 17th, Lewis Proctor in 18th, Alex Arkinaka in 19th, and Marco Polcini down in 20th place, Timo Rumpkeil 21st, and then Ernst Kirkmeyer in 22nd, Morten Stromstead 23rd, Alessandro Cosi in 24th, with Giuseppe Cipriani in 25th, Johannes Zelger in 26th, Libor Milotta in 27th, Laurent de Meus 28th, with Zaid Gandor in 29th, and Vladislav Lomko in 30th, Kiki Satnana in 31st, Hash, Dexter Muller, Poitou Vera, and Andre Borodin round out. We now head down with Alfredo.
Jordan Pepper, pole position at the Red Bull Ring in almost wintry conditions. How was it?
Yeah, I mean, quite good. Obviously, yesterday none of us really had dry running time. And the little bit we did have, I let Alessio drive just to get up to speed with things. And yeah, we know that the car was good. Obviously, we've been quite strong lately, and also last year they were pretty quick here as well. So we knew what setup to put on. I just had to put the lap together. And yeah, a big thanks to the crew as well. They did an all-nighter changing the gearbox with an issue we had yesterday. So this one's for them.
How you see things this afternoon?
Well, if it rains, I'm also okay with it. So that could spice things up. Obviously, we don't know what happens. Yeah, the Red Bull Ring, it's either 35 degrees and sunny or this. But yeah, happy for any conditions. The car is always obviously quite strong on the long run as well. So looking forward to another battle, obviously also with Fabio up there, maybe a Paul Ricard 2.0.
For now, all done, and all the best for later.
Thank you, thank you.
Well, a very happy Jordan Pepper, and for good reason. It's going to be a huge fight. Fabian Schiller, of course, crossing the line in third place. It's going to be Alan Couder in second. Pepper, though, on top. The question is, can he take it from pole to victory? We'll find out this afternoon.